No man do they call me, my mother and my father, and all my comrades as well. Just checking up and making sure everything is working and in good order. I'm still kind of getting myself set up. At the moment, nobody is in chat, but that's okay. We are going to be getting underway. I'm going to be doing a complaint thing. I'll be getting in character too, so don't you worry. I'll make sure that we have a grand old time. Let me just make sure I can see chat okay. Okay, we got some people coming. Blessed Brother Caldo. Alright, I think we're up and ready to go. Let me just clear off my workspace a little bit. And we will get underway. I just want to make sure, can everybody hear me okay? Let me know that you can hear me. Can you hear me? We got Edward Rylands, Finch's Crossing. I got some people. Say something to indicate that you can hear me. Say I can hear you. I just want to make sure that how's the sound going. We will get underway as soon as I have audio is good. Okay, I just wanted to be sure because I started talking the last time and I talked for a while before I realized that the audio wasn't working. Okay, let's go ahead and get underway.
Welcome, everyone. This is the administratum's complaint department, where we address the needs of the public and rectify any issues or problems you might have. I am Ordinate Dundelmeyer. As per usual, you are all welcome in the chat, in the Vox feed, as you see fit. Chat away, and I will comment and perhaps add your complaints to my ever-growing to-do list. However, if you would like your issues resolved as quickly as possible, a small donation will allow your voice to be heard across the entire Imperium as you give voice to your complaint, or at least the portion of the Imperium that listens to this Voxcast will hear you. And then I assure you and I promise that action will be taken as swiftly as possible and the issue will be resolved within 4 to 6 decades. So let us take a look. Someone does indeed enjoy providing adequate funding to the administratum so that we are able to provide the services that we do provide. So most excellent, Edward Rylands, Lord Rylands, I do believe. Always happy to see one of yourself. Scroll Keepers here, Eric Rayner, Canis Nagler, Rithven Fang, Dear Imperial Official, some talking rat like mutants have started a so-called under-empire and under my residence. It has been 666 weeks as of my first notice. Please help as they keep biting the power. Oh, hello? Are you there? I'm afraid that's lost contact. But hearing about that is very troublesome. It does seem we have some mutant troubles, and we do have your location. So we will be sending a complaint task force to address your concerns and possibly significantly adjust the population of your planet. So there, we're already well on our way to assisting the needy people of the Imperium. I'm just having myself a little bit of recap as more people arrive. Do be certain that you like this Voxcast so that it may spread to the eyes and ears of everyone within the Imperium so that they may give voice to their complaint and direct us towards areas of interest, areas of immediate interest for those of the administratum who might have inquisitive minds. A quiet man thing, and the under Imperium is good loyal. Certainly not mutant thing, yes. Well, that's reassuring. That's reassuring. Someone is here on behalf of the governor. They were assured 28,000 pieces of surface to orbital batteries to repel pirates, but we were given no munitions. Well, you likely did not fill out the requisite forms for the munitions. You simply filled out the forms for the batteries, or if you did fill out the forms for the munitions, you did not do so in triplicate so that it may be reproduced and kept for our records. So do not come crying to me because you filled out the paperwork incorrectly. I advise that you acquire the said paperwork from your administratum official and fill it out correctly this time. Now, wise one, answer the question. I am not a wise one. I am an alternate. Wisdom has nothing to do with bureaucracy. But why does it hurt when you... That's rather unpleasant, but my guess would be failure to fill out requisite paperwork. That would be my assumption. All misery comes from improper procedure. See if there's anyone else. We do have 20 people listening, 22 people listening, out of the uncounted billions of the Imperium. Jack Malone, welcome. Uniden, welcome. Mediz. Someone here represents the Vice Governor, good boy of Corumpere 5. The shipments of pickle jars were delayed as a result of a necessary reorganization of the pickle jar redistribution system. You see, one of the alternates, over-alternate Rembledale, decided that it would be best if he overhauled our entire pickle jar shipping system, and so that caused a few minor delays in pickle jars that were decided to be an acceptable delay in order to increase bureaucratic satisfaction. On behalf of Totally Not World Eaters, I need more guardsmen. Very interesting to hear. And if you'll just stay on the line for a little bit longer, I can gain access to your location, and we will be delivering a complaint response team as quickly as possible. Just stay right on the coordinates that you're standing on. Don't move. We'll make sure that they arrive very soon. Dearest servant of the complaint department, I am of a minor noble house on Tyrax 4 and the Tyraxius system. I must complain as I wish my noble son to become an emperor's angel of death. Well, I'm afraid that the affairs of the Adeptus Astartes are not the affairs of the administratum, though they do occasionally have to requisition us for munitions and so forth, but I cannot force or influence their anything to do with their initiation process. It's very difficult to influence that. We have one known only as Man. Go ahead.
Yeah, what forms do I fill out to receive my order of 120,000 mousetraps for the agri-world of Cordycept in the Grainicus sector?
I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 times more. You must go to the grain repository administratum wing to get the paperwork for the vermin prevention acquisition fund office, and then you will have to put in an order for the requisition forms for 120,000 mousetraps. That will of course require 120,000 forms for each trap. Fill them all out, submit them, allow for processing, and it should be arriving within 4 to 6 decades. Thank you for your donation. We will get on that as quickly as possible, and possibly even bring that down to 2 or even 1 decade for you. Yes, do remember to like everyone. If you do not like your bureaucracy, the bureaucracy will only get more arduous to deal with. But many thanks to the one simply known as Man. We have a call from Imperium 5. One of the local officials aren't taking... they shouldn't be taking any bribes, but they might be able to collect certain administrative fees. Well, if he's accepting bribes, that is most unacceptable. But if he is not accepting administratum fees, then we'll have to send a crisis response team. We'll be there in at least in roughly half an hour. Yes. If you require cheese for the mousetraps, you will need to fill out the cheese forms as well. Especially if you are intending on taking large wheels of cheese and then dividing them into smaller morsels for the traps. We will need to know how many morsels you intend to divide the cheese wheel into. Someone is complaining that Dr. Livesey meme should be more viral. I cannot condone the spread of viruses, I suppose. Someone is a humble servant to the Emperor. Has an issue with... Oh, my word. We will be sending a crisis response... a complaint response team to your location immediately. Do try to... my recommendation is find if you are pure of heart, I do recommend you find a basement and duck and cover, for they shall be arriving very, very quickly indeed. Let's have a look. They've also been interfering with our communications, Holy Emperor. They are rising from the sewers. Please help the mousetraps. They do nothing. Not my habitat block. Well, if you had filled up the requisite paperwork sooner, then it would have arrived sooner, and you'd be able to deal with this before it got out of hand. Don't come crying to me now that things are too late. Here we are. Go ahead.
The dynastic throne of Sethra the Undying requires information about the forms required to begin the process of expelling the meat that claims to be members of your Imperium from our system.
Well, as I can assure you, as you're likely just freshly waking up, we will be sending a response team to your location, potentially with experts of the Mechanicus to very much seek out any information they could have regarding your situation and remove any and all troublesome technology that might be overburdening you. So we'll respond to that as quickly as possible. So thank you for your donation, Mr. Sethra, the Undying. We'll certainly put that one to the test. Education Minister of Imperium 5 is here. All right, very well. Go ahead.
The Education Minister of Corumpere 5. The government requested specific regiment guardsmen, and I've been asked to inquire where they were, in case it got lost in the list. This is the 69th Cadian, 42nd Catachan.
Well, we will make sure for a respected member of the Corumpere educational system, we'll be on that as soon as possible and make sure you're provided with their coordinates, so that way you may redirect them to where they are needed. Most excellent, most excellent. We have a request for materials for my world. Will need 800 years from now, when that problem will actually happen. Well, it's good to start filling it out now. Then I would go to your administratum office, and I would seek out the requisitions office for unlikely events and start filling out the paperwork. You will be asked to renew and resubmit this paperwork every year until the catastrophe that you anticipate happening occurs, and then on the day that you anticipate it happening, then you want to cease. If it happens on a different day than the one you marked down right now, then I'm afraid we're not going to be able to respond quickly enough. So make sure that you know exactly when it's going to happen. We have Captain Bill. Our men have been waiting for a lasgun shipment. Half our men have been killed by the orcs in the fungal caverns of Corumpere 5. Once again, this all seems to be issues with shipments. The administratum has been very clear about if you wish to requisition lasguns, then that is you must engage in the unnecessarily complicated requisition process, which involves communications between the Astra Militarum, the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Administratum, and 7 different minor branches of the Inquisition, the Administratum, the Sororitas, and the Arbites, all of which must be submitted in triplicate to all parties involved. It's not that complicated, people. It's not that complicated. Tech Priest Rosai 99 is apparently annoyed. My future Forge world has been undergoing a dispute with the Ecclesiarchy over jurisdiction. The Adepta Sororitas of the Bloody Rose has me at gunpoint. Please send aid. If you would have the sisters, if you would like to appeal the sisters' decision to fire their weapons upon you, then you're going to have to contact your Forge World, your sponsor's Forge World, make certain that they have indeed approved this location to be made into a Forge World. You will also need to contact the Sisters of the Bloody Rose and coordinate with their abbess to make sure that you are not held at gunpoint anymore. Just so you know, the process for this could take anywhere between 30 or 40 decades. Where do I go for a Xenos Meros license? It's not heretical. We're both sanctioned aliens. That is a matter of... you have 2 options. The first is that you're going to have to get approval to be a mated pair of sanctioned aliens. The other is that you submit yourself to sterilization, which will be the much faster option. Until then, you will be kept in quarantine from each other so that there is no accidental mating. So you'll both have to fill out separate forms that are identical, without any sort of communication between you. We have a requisition for 20,000 med kits. They've arrived, however, they were no med kits and it was full of las guns. I believe your people have gotten an order mixed up with someone else. More likely it is that you have filled out your paperwork incorrectly or mistakenly had the same name as another one of your brothers, or that the planet that you are on was given the same designation as another more important planet. We have someone from Commander Astra of the Astra Miller Grottum, and they're requesting more guardsmen boys because they seem to be stuck. Well, I will send assistance as quickly as possible to the Greenskins. They will be dealt with as swiftly as possible, let me assure you. We have one telling me that there's a plague demon in his room. Your coordinates have been forwarded to the Inquisition. They will be dealing with your planet shortly. The planet you were sent to by the High Lords, it wasn't a paradise world like they said. It's dead. Probably better you change that. Are you certain that it's dead? Have you done a full survey? Your duty as a rogue trader, if a planet is not as it is listed in the databanks of the administratum, then you will have to do a full survey and send aforementioned survey with the requisite forms requesting that this information be updated. It's not very complicated, people. It's navigating a bureaucracy. It's as simple as calculating a warp travel. Right, we have another Imperial citizen. Go ahead.
Help! My house is collapsing! They keep building more and more temples and churches and icons on top of my neighborhood! We are drowning in blessing, seals, and wax!
Let me have a look at your location. Yes, you're technically, your neighborhood does not exist. It has been rezoned as a, your planet has been rezoned as a shrine world, and so your neighborhood now falls under the jurisdiction of the ecclesiarchy, so any and all complaints should be sent to the ecclesiarchy, so that way they can send you the emperor's blessings and ensure that you are provided with the finest of spiritual care to address your complaint as quickly as possible. I have a bit of something in my throat, I think. Something terrible's been bothering me. I do apologize, but if it continues to worsen, I may have to cut this a bit short. You know, we at the administratum, our office hours are from the early afternoon to the slightly later early afternoon. And as I'm feeling rather ill, I might have to set aside and delay a few responses to a few of these complaints. But my ill health must be attended to. You must understand. Let's have a look. We have a complaint about a law regarding AI. If you were to allow an intelligent machine spirit to help the administratum in their gargantuan task, the Imperium would be a much easier place to live. We will not hand over our mechanisms to abominable intelligence, but I do thank you for bringing the suggestion to our attention. I will send along your thoughts to the appropriate authorities, and they will get back to you very shortly, I assure you. Oh, I've been working so hard I haven't even considered lunch. The voice is, my voice is not strained, it is, I think it might be a bit of an illness.
or there is something in the air that's causing a bit of irritation in my face. We have let's see what this one is. I keep getting horrible stock for slaves, menials and workers for my mines. They keep expiring way too quickly. It is starting to be a real problem. I demand better laborers. Well, did you specify that you wanted good laborers when they were being shipped to you? If you did not specify that you wanted good laborers that would be able to do the work, you should have specified that in your requisition form. We'll be sending you fresh requisition forms. They should be arriving within the next decade or so. Orcs raised the administratum district. How do we reorganize and rebuild? Reclamation of assets, or do we request replacements for new everything? You must. It is the obligation of the planet to restore the administratum building to its proper functioning, identical as it was, down to the last molecule. Until then, administratum functions will cease on your planet until the issue is resolved. So all records must be replaced, all forms must be replaced, the building must be repaired, everything must be as it was before, and then we will resume services to your planet. The rogue trader is now telling me that he's made a mistake, as per usual. So you are going to hastily send us to change our maps and... but there's something alive here. It's a very tall man in green power armor. He's currently hugging every single one of my crewmates, including the menials. Well, see, then you found that you were incorrect. It was not a dead world at all. We will continue to make, and it looks like that fellow's rather happy, so we will continue to have in our records that it is a paradise world. I do thank you for a prompt response, and I also appreciate that you have admitted failure on your part, rogue trader. Do try to improve in the future. The battle sisters are now using my body as a punching bag. Sisters laughing at me. Contact with Sister Superior failed. Request protest forms. I will owe you a favor on Mechanicus' behalf. Oh, how very interesting. Well, we will send a complaint response team to your location as quickly as possible, and we will see that resolved once you have specified to that team exactly what sort of favors the Mechanicus is willing to offer to the administratum. We have a complaint. 90% of cornstarch potato chips are only 75% cornstarch. I don't know what game the manufacturers are playing, but this is false advertising. Do submit your sample of cornstarch to the local administratum laboratory, which is not in fact a laboratory, but we will then contract a Megos biologist or an appropriate expert in all things organic, and they shall determine the cornstarch to potato ratio and see if your complaint is valid. If it is not, we may require a few more samples, so do fill out and submit around 1,000 samples, and we will resolve the issue as soon as possible. Your regiment has been stranded on this feral world for decades, but now we officially claim it for the Imperium. We will be sending a response team to your location to make sure that it is incorporated properly into the Imperium and that you have the proper forms for reintegration available to you. Where's the shipment of grok steaks? I've got 5 detachments of hungry ogrins and a company of catechans here, and what was sent were holy oils. Well, you're simply going to have to make sure you are filling out the paperwork correctly. The only thing I can tell you to do is fill out the requisition forms and make sure you fill them out correctly this time. And don't let the ogrins eat the holy oils. Alright, we have another call. This one is from a scribe. Go ahead, my fellow administratum.
Yes, our back catalogue of awaiting documents to be processed is out of control. There are so many paper stacks that there is now a crazy hermit attacking people living in the jungle of rotten parchment. We lost 8 scribes.
Well, as per usual, you are a scribe. You should know these things. You should submit a crazy hermit extraction request and submit it. Preferably, you should get that into your catalog of documents that must be processed. And as soon as you get to that one, then we will address the issue as soon as possible. We'll see if we can get that down to maybe a single decade as soon as we receive your paperwork. Thank you for your donation. Your donations do assist in making the administratum run smoothly. We have a guardsman in this station in Sector Gamma 12, and I found a Xenos hair in my corpse starch. This is heresy. We shall be sending a cleansing team to your location and make sure that everyone who has been exposed to the Xenos taint will be purified, and those responsible shall be purged. That might not be immediately, though. That might be quite some time. We've got... You have to understand, we have quite a number of complaints thus far. We now have the results back from the Megos Biologus tested. 75%, 85%, not 75% corpse starch. So, unfortunately, you have now... The previous complainant has made a false complaint. They will be reported to the Arbites immediately for apprehension and for making a false accusation. And we will also look further into what exactly the substance is that has been added, and then we shall take appropriate action to remedy any issue that might be occurring with the corpse starch. The out-of-fething requisition forms, now what? You fill out the requisition form for more requisition forms. It's not that difficult. That is a good question. What happens when you run out of crisis response teams? Well, you see the administratum, because this is definitely the administratum taking complaints and not the Inquisition finding individuals who are discontent and eliminating potential threats to the Imperium. This is definitely just the complaint department of the administratum. But we are quite well funded for our crisis response teams. One might say we have unlimited authority to requisition whatever we need to serve our needs. An inordinate amount of power, one might say. I could have sworn I heard one of my guardsmen whisper, "Oh, I see. Should you be concerned, we will be investigating that with great interest. Do record any instances where that happens, and we will be sending someone. They will contact you, and you ought to give them this information." The planetary government has passed with no living successors. 2 noble families are vying in the court for the title and fiefdom. Both will assassinate me if I choose the other. What I suggest is that you put in a request for succession via the ancient chant of Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, and the noble who shall be named governor shall be chosen in this manner.
and that should protect you from assassination, as you will not be showing any sort of favor to either one. We have ordered a massive shipment of las guns, but instead we have a shipment of flashlights instead. What sort of sick joke is this? I have heard this insulting euphemism used to describe las guns. I am most certain that is in fact your request. So fight with the Emperor's glorious las gun and eliminate the enemies of the Imperium. We love the administratum and all they do for the good of the Emperor-fearing citizens of the Imperium, such as myself. We will be sending a crisis response team to your location, Shoe Pants. We are fairly certain that, for everyone who is listening, we are fairly certain that this is not a human transmission. This is likely a Xenos transmission or some sort of plot by the ruinous powers. They shall be eliminated with all due prejudice as swiftly as possible. So be rest assured that we will not allow lies like this to spread throughout the galaxy. Primary labor supervisor has increased my 24-hour labor cycle to a 48-hour labor cycle, despite our planet having only 24 hours a day cycle. Help. What I would recommend is that you acquire Archaeo. You put in it is a lengthy process, but if you actually get it finished in your lifetime, it will solve all of your problems retroactively. But there is Archaeo tech that is a time loop, a time distortion loop that should allow you to exist for 48 hours during the same day, and then you'll be able to double your production and fulfill the request as ordered. If you do not have the authority to request such a thing, you will have to rely on the requisition being filled out by somebody who has the authority to acquire Archaeo tech, and if you're not able to do that, well, then that's simply your own fault for not being able to work 48 hours, put in the work to be able to do 48 hours of work a day. Please, the railings beneath our feet are scorching hot. We've been asking for shoes for years. We need shoes. These lesions on our feet are horrible. Listen, this is a complaint. If our duty has not been fulfilled, then you're welcome to complain. But you cannot simply say we do not have shoes if you have not requisitioned them. If you have not filled out the forms requesting shoes, it is possible that you don't have shoes because you haven't yet fulfilled your tithes. You might not have shoes because the form was filled out incorrectly. You can't just come in here and say you need shoes, and I can't simply give you shoes. That's not the way a bureaucracy works. Well, we have an Imperial noble saying, I did not get chocolate with my recraft this morning, and I demand someone be killed for it. Yes, my lord. Right away, my lord. Someone is being killed at this moment, and they're hopefully that will alleviate your rage, my lord. Hair is also heresy. It sounds so similar. All hair must be banned. It is true. Hair does sound a bit like heresy. We'll send that to subcommittee to have that debated and see when we have our next overhaul of our bureaucracy if that can be implemented. Hello, alien again. My future spouse and I have finished the documents while in quarantine using our psychic bond to communicate. What are the office hours where we can submit our marriage license request? So you will need to go to the marriage office, which is open from Usually, whatever your local time is, it'll be 2 in the afternoon to 3 in the afternoon. So you have 1 hour to submit that, but you will then have to go to the section open for alien marriage licenses, sanctioned alien marriage licenses, which is open from 3 until 4. So you will have to gain access to the first, and then, unfortunately, they will then close, which will make it unable to reach the second, which you'll simply have to be quick enough on the draw to be able to submit everything properly. We have someone who has their stock of beer has run dry, and they can't party with your fellow rogue traders without booze. Or are you a rouge trader? It seems like you are a rouge trader. Well, you have the ability to raid and pillage. Generally, your kind acquires their own goods. Or perhaps you have a letter of marque for trade. Go trade for it. But here is the power source of the Emperor himself. A good invalid point. It is possible that we may have to debate the issue. We have a planetary governor Billy's trying for my planet to pay their tithes. How do I found new regiments? You have to gather enough men, have them meet the standards for the Astra Militarum. Their guidelines are available at any administratum office that has a subsection dedicated to founding new regiments. You must get on that as soon as possible, or else you will fail to pay your tithes, at which point your governorship will be seized from you and given to the most senior administratum official in your system. The Emperor has no hair. To be close to the Emperor, all hair should be banned. I don't know if that's true. Please, I can't tell if the nobles on my planet are just into kinky stuff, or if a heretical cult. I live in the lower hive, and even I hear the cries of their depraved actions. We will send someone to investigate your planet. Trust me, action is being taken as soon as you have delivered this news to us. But be forewarned, if there is corruption deep in the heart of your planet, well, just hold still. It'll be over soon enough. Cannot tell if my neighbors are servants of the ruinous powers, or if they are just terribly ill. Please advise. I suppose this is advice. This isn't really a complaint. My suggestion would be that they should be quarantined until they are either no longer sick or their depraved, wicked, horrid natures can be proven, and then they may be eliminated. If their illness is too grave, they might be eliminated anyway. Alright, we have a woeful citizen calling. Go, woeful citizen. You have likely scavenged what imperial credits you can to make this call, so I will let you have your full 30 seconds.
My planet has been decimated by endless queues. Lines have formed awaiting requests from your offices. The streets are paralyzed with people waiting for the simplest things. Something must be done.
Well, thanks to your donation, things will be moving very quickly. It is obvious that what is needed for your city is for a full reorganization and efficiency maximization process to be completed. So if you can submit those forms to the administratum, we can arrive with lots of construction crews and cause immeasurable delays in any of these paperworks actually being completed to irrevocably and slowly rearrange your entire infrastructure so that things can function at least 10% greater efficiency. So you've done a good job, citizen. We will ensure that your planet will be running at tip-top efficiency in no time at all. I have Sister Anna Superior. Is this thing on? Got it. Hello, dweeb. Is the administratum trying to curry favor with the Mechanicus? How dare you favor them over us? You better pull back or we're going to come for you. Sister Superior, we do... Are you certain you wish to take that tone with us? We are currently about ready to ship your order of emperor-shaped body pillows. They were going to go to your abbey just now, but I could certainly double check the paperwork to see if there's any sort of error, and I would hate for there to be greater delays created as a result of this. Someone needs help rebooting the kangaroo servitor. Gotta give them heretics the boot. I can see that being in trouble. That seems like the purview of the Mechanicus. But if you would like to receive a requisition request form for the Mechanicus, we can certainly send that to you. Assuming you filled out the requisition paper request form. Now, we don't have enough red buttons. How are we supposed to build the boss's Big Mac without red buttons? There is a form for everything, and you're simply not looking hard enough. Fill out the red button requisition form as many times as you need buttons. We have a door, sir. If my grandfather was ordered to hold a door for a person of higher social standing, they were never told to close the door. I am now the third generation of door holders. If we stray, we will be executed. I don't know what you're complaining about. That everything seems to be in order. You're fulfilling your duty. Complaint department. My neighbors have been stealing jeans, and a rabbit girl appeared in my room. I think this is a crisis response team issue. We will make sure that the administratum officials that are necessary will be sent to your location as quickly as possible. I wish to formally file a complaint on behalf of the complaints department about citizens asking for advice rather than complaining. This should be instituted and taken very, very seriously and immediately. Citizens should be using the complaint department for complaints, not asking for advice. If you wish to ask for advice, I suggest that you seek out the administration's advice department, and let me assure you that they have been receiving many, many, many requests. Huge bipedal rats on my homeworld's underhive categorizes mutants, xenos, or minor demons so we can fill in the proper forms for extermination. They speak and get into the corpse starch. I think that we will send it. Your planet is now of interest. Let us simply say that. The issue will be resolved, one way or another. We have Alien again. I have submitted the forms. Where do I obtain a cake request form? You will need to go to the cake listen, I know I said I wasn't going to make advice, but let me give you a little piece of... I'm going to give you just this one. You have filled out the paperwork and done the impossible. Let me just tell you this one thing. Make your own cake. It's going to be faster. Make your own cake out of the Xenos-approved materials that you are able to purchase. We have Archmagos Bilios from Mars. Of a large set of gene seed, I would like to found a chapter. That is not the business of the administratum. That sounds like business between the Mechanicus and the Adeptus Astartes and their chapter system. I cannot speak on behalf of the administratum in such a capacity. We lack the authority. We wish to submit a complaint about a game known as Fortress Monastery, and Squigoths. It seems to be heretical. I could imagine that it would be. Likely promote despite the appearance of being a dice and figurine board game, it is. I've heard of such things that it in fact encourages the worship of the ruinous powers, though much of the purpose of the game is to slay wicked creatures for the glory of the Emperor. Without doing any further research, I will fast track this and submit this to the local Inquisitor, who will now ban it across the Imperium on pain of execution. Hey there, our local industry has been completely cannibalized by the Administratum building. Could look much grander. There is a massive economic downturn now. Well, if you had filled out the proper request forms and not wanted your local industry to be cannibalized and turned into massive golden buttresses and grand administratum lobbies, then you should have done so long before coming to me. Wish to submit a complaint. Our regiment approved psychers still turned me into a newt. I got better, but still. Rogue psychers are an issue of high importance. We'll be sending someone to investigate the validity of your claim. If the psyker is determined to be the same weight as a duck, then he will be proven a heretic and executed as quickly as possible. We have a rogue dread. Okay, I'm going to need an incorrect battlefield aftermath report on the status of a soldier, the cane form, the unredaction of information form, and permission to publish poetry form. You're going to have to fill out the request forms in order to receive those request forms. And then that will be sent to you as soon as possible. If they're busy fighting one another, if they're busy fighting with one another, you should be okay. Keep them fighting one another. I probably missed something over the past months. What sort of nomad? This is the Administratum's complaint department. We are here to allow citizens to air their complaints. We encourage citizens to like this Voxcast. We also encourage citizens to submit any administratum fees they wish to pay in order to expedite any complaints they wish to have addressed as quickly as possible. These are not bribes, these are administratum fees that allow us to act more quickly in the interest of the complainee. And this is definitely the administratum, and it is definitely not the Inquisition trying to find disgruntled imperial citizens and eliminating potential threats. It is definitely not that. It appears that the tech priest has received assistance from the complaint department. As promised, we will send builders. We will begin by making noble quality recraft machine, infinite refills. Excellent, excellent. We're glad we were able to remedy this so quickly.
So this is Guardsman Danny. I blew off a rogue space marine's limbs, but he says 'tis but a scratch and keeps attacking. I request heavy weaponry. I suggest you leave him. He sounds to be a loony. Well, after all, what is he going to do? Bleed on you? The corpse bars I've been receiving have been subpar. I don't understand. They were at least 5% actual nutrients, but my studies prove otherwise. They also killed my brother. He was very old at 23. I have not received the full nature of your complaint. Please do. Any nutrition complaints should be submitted to the Nutrient Regulation Committee, and they will investigate any and all claims within the next century. A recent ever-escalating gang war has heavily depopulated the local underhive. That might be by design. It is possible that might be part of a depopulation campaign to eliminate undesirable elements from the underhive. So that sounds like everything is going according to plan. Thank you for that report on the progress of eliminating gang violence in the underhive. There's a very big ogre and he scares me. Can you put him somewhere else that isn't next to my bed? Have you? This is again seems to be more of a request or an asking for advice. My suggestion is sing him a lullaby. You're not going to move him, but you might be able to put him to sleep. It does appear that irate Imperial petitioners and complainants are trying to break down the doors into this administratum palace. Unfortunately for them, we are well protected by the Arbites, and certain elements related to a certain inquisitorial retinue, they will be dealt with very swiftly and painfully. We have someone's shower keeps running with blood. I believe our Gellerfield is outdated, but my captain says it's fine. This again is not a concern of the administratum. If you wish to have another Gellerfield put in, that is for your captain to determine. If he does not fill out the required paperwork and does not acquire a new Gellerfield, then there's nothing I can do for you. Well, I have been working for over an hour straight. Such are the strenuous hours of the administratum, and my throat feels a mite scratchy. I will need to take several lunches in a row, and perhaps even take the next week off to address my health. Oh my word! So, if there are any other requests that might be made, any other complaints, we would like to hear that sooner rather than later. Those of you who have enjoyed the Voxcast, do make sure to like it. It is actually required on your planet. Anyone who's found listening to this Voxcast and not like it shall be captured and reassigned and reconfigured into an administratum servitor, likely programmed to hold stacks of papers that shall not be looked at again for the next several centuries. And our bloody pathetic complaint department, nothing in the Imperium. I have bravely done my duty, and braved illness. I have braved sickness to be able to provide you all with this loyal service. You do not know how much I have suffered, how much I have delayed my lunch hour, how many extra minutes. I was intending to work for only an hour, and I have pushed the limits. This actually is quite pleasing to me that we have 50 likes on this Vox stream. Tell me about it. I'm on a 48-hour shift. See, this one understands the pain that I go through. A little bit of sympathy goes a long way. If the sickness gets worse, it might be my bad. Sorry. We'll be sending another crisis response team to your location relatively quickly. Do I want a hug? You can fill out a hug request form, but then I will consider it. I will need to see a picture of you, and if I find you to be pleasant to look at, I can determine whether to accept or reject your request for a hug. But I think I shall wrap things up. I do thank all of you for your attendance, for your complaints. Any complaints that are filed outside of this complaint Voxcast, you will simply either have to fill out the much longer form complaint form, or wait until next cycle when we do one of these complaint departments live Voxcast to more efficiently address some issues. But yes, I will drink some more recaf, and I shall have some Tana as well. Thank you. We have someone. The Planetary Rebellion has succeeded, and I have been named new planetary governor. Now, please tell me how to fill out the form, to fill out the second form, to fill out the first form. It's very easy. Just start with the first one, and then the second one, and then the first one to do the second one, and then the order is very clear, and I can't make it more clear than that. All right, very well. I'm going to end here. My failing health simply cannot withstand anymore. I have done so much for you already. Please do not demand more, or I'm afraid my frail form will not be able to handle it. Farewell to all of you. I wish you a very fine Friday. Oh, we have one more. Oh, this I must accept this. These administratum fees must be collected. Go right ahead.
You know, if we have a thinking machine, we could process all of this paperwork fast.
No! Thank you for submitting your required fees. We'll be sorting out that particular individual and make sure they are thinking in a much more efficient and simple manner and not getting ideas above their station. So I do thank you all for your complaints. I thank you all of them who have been addressed, and those of you who have not. I'll get around to